Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Then and Now. I'm Matt Present.
And I'm Nick Yor.
Today, we dive into Paul VI, a perennial top power in the nation out of the WCAC.
We are joined by head coach Glenn Farello and the all-time winningest player in Paul VI history, Butler guard Aaron Thompson.
And welcome back to Then and Now. We're joined by head boys basketball coach at Paul VI, Glenn Farello, and former guard Aaron Thompson along with as well. Coach, on the high school level right now during this unusual time, what is the message with your team? How are you moving forward and trying to keep everyone on the same page and looking forward to the return of basketball?
Yeah, one thing, obviously, I want to stay safe and healthy, understand the bigger perspective of what's going on. And the kids have been very mature with that. With that being said, they still have a responsibility and be accountable for making sure that their bodies are right, their mental state is right, and to be working on that on a daily basis. So there's a lot of opportunities to do strength and conditioning. We have a great strength and conditioning coach in Brandon Broadnax that has been making sure that he's connected with the players at all times. We've had individual conversations with the guys about what they need to work on. What a great opportunity for the kids to be able to do a little self-evaluation of where they are, what they need to do, what they need to work on, get that skill development in, the repetitions on a daily basis, build their bodies, and get their minds straight so that when we are able to get back in business, that they're prepared for it and ready to go. And especially for our seniors, it's always really important since the whole climate has changed, right, from a recruiting standpoint, that to stay positive and put the work in, and then we'll be able to see when the spotlight comes back on that you're ready to shine.
So, Coach, I remember talking to you about this a little bit in our last interview, saying you're from Ohio and then obviously had the great success at Eleanor Roosevelt High School before Paul VI. How you can kind of give the fans a little short description of how you kind of made your way into the DMV basketball scene, and then what kind of made your success so apparent at Eleanor Roosevelt for so long?
So I'll tell you what. Going back in the Roosevelt days, the early days, we had some players that just had so much ability and were so hungry. And so I remember that first day I walked in. I was an assistant coach for 5 years, so I had a chance to really understand what the lay of the land was and who we had within the system coming in. And when I walked out the first day, I said, "Guys, we're going to Cole Fieldhouse. This is what we're doing." And they all kind of looked at me like I was crazy, but I said, "This is what we're going to do, guys, and this is the mission." And the guys bought into it. And sure enough, we won our first county championship shortly thereafter. I think it was year 2, and years 3 and 4, we made the state finals, and then we won a state championship in 2002. But it was so exciting because I was surrounded by a lot of players that were really hungry, chip on their shoulder type players. We weren't a big name at the time. I wanted to make sure we got our guys on the map, and that they got college scholarships. And that was something that was really important to me, not just for our guys at Roosevelt, but throughout the county. And we worked really hard with a lot of the other coaches too to put together an AAU program that really focused on the public school kids, and kind of grow and build the reputation of, which is so outstanding, as we all know, it's the best basketball in the country out of PG County. That's why when we tap into the PG County still with the Aaron Thompsons of the world, we want the best of the best, and it's really fun to see, like someone like Aaron that adds to the legacy of how great PG County basketball is. And we kind of did our job, I hope, that within my time at Roosevelt, to kind of build that reputation and allow those kids to just really thrive.
So you win the championship in 2002 with Eleanor Roosevelt and then make the jump to Paul VI. What made that the right step for you as you continued your path in coaching?
Yeah, so the WCAC is obviously the best conference in the country. And I was looking forward to that challenge. I live in Virginia, so the commute would have been a lot easier. It's kind of the reverse of what Aaron was doing for so long. I did that for 14 years. And so I thought I was just having the opportunity to be in that arena. Same thing if we were talking to Aaron wanted the challenge of the WCAC as a player when we recruited him. I wanted that challenge as a coach to be able to be part of the best conference in the country. So we were really motivated to come in and kind of put our brand of basketball within the WCAC and see if we can't challenge the best of the best. And fortunately, we've had some great players come through to help us kind of ascend and have a lot of success over the 13 years now that we've been there.
Aaron, I'm going to bring you into this for a second here. And Coach talks about the PG County basketball circles and the commute over into Virginia, playing in the WCAC. certainly we know the reasons you'd want to be a part of such a great conference, but what was it like thinking through that decision of, it's a long commute. I'm going to invest a lot of time every day. There's a lot of basketball talent around me. As you kind of weighed that, what were things that you were thinking about?
For me, it was like fit my style of play. Definitely better fit for me. Style of play wise in terms of getting up and down. I feel like I was kind of my style growing up, coming through middle school, and then probably just my relationship with coach for sure. I think that definitely propelled my decision to come to Paul the Sixth. I feel like I had a better relationship with coach than probably a lot of other coaches in the WCAC or any other coaches in the area for that matter. So I think probably those two things are definitely big in making my decision at least.
And Coach mentioned when he was at Eleanor Roosevelt, and I'm sure this is absolutely still true at Paul VI, the emphasis on getting guys college scholarships. Was that a part of your decision in terms of, this is a coach that I believe will get me to the next level?
For sure. I see guys like Tillman and Kevin Dorsey. They came there and they played well. They played their role and played well. They got scholarships and they made it to the next level. So I always looked up to guys like that that put in the work and came there and got the job done. So I feel like I could be in that position to make that happen for myself. So that was definitely a big part of my decision.
So you talk about some of those great guards and recruits you guys have been able to get, and just looking at this run that you guys have had recently. I mean, in consecutive years, Coach, you have Brandon Slater, Villanova, Anthony Harris, North Carolina, Jeremy Roach, Duke. Then you have Trevor Keels and Nasir McDaniel waiting in the wings with Division I scholarships offers as well. But you said it started with guys like Aaron Thompson, Patrick Holloway, and stuff like that, where it leads to what this program has become. What kind of foundation did those guys put down to really help this brotherhood that Paul VI we see every day?
Yeah, a couple things to say there. So for the time when we were in Roosevelt, we really did establish across the board for young kids like Aaron and this to see the product that we had out there. So the Delonte West, the Eddie Basdens, that had so much success in our early days. So our guard play, Ray Brewer, who is part of the Takeover family right now, Brendan Strong, Brandon McDonald, who are both college coaches now that came out of Roosevelt. So we've always been really, really successful with our guards and our guard play and how we've developed them and helped them develop, because honestly, you have to have the right kind of mindset kid to come in and play for us, the demands that we have, playing fast, playing defense, and sharing the ball. So when we got to Paul VI, it kind of really did start with Eric Green. And Eric Green obviously went on to Virginia Tech, led the country in scoring his senior year, and has been playing pro ball ever since. So Eric kind of believed first in our current role at PVI, and then it followed up by Tillman Dunbar, who went on the Navy, and we had players like Stan Robinson, Jamal Robinson that came over to help us establish things. You mentioned Patrick Holloway, so we've had a lot of success with guards and players that just really bought in, and so when Aaron got a chance to see that and he saw where his avenue was to be able to make an impact on our program, but also be in front of the college coaches, because if you're coming through PVI. And you're going to know how to play hard. You're going to know how to play fast, and you're going to be a winner. You know, Aaron, the impact that he made he's a winner, and so then you see that carry on to the Brandon Slaters, like you mentioned, the Anthony Harrises, the Jeremy Roaches, and now it's the responsibility and accountability the older players have for the younger players. My Roosevelt players all demand of my PVI players. So it's not just a brotherhood and a family since we had PVI established. It goes back to the roots of our Roosevelt days. Ray Brewer is as important to me and in our development at Roosevelt, and now his impact on our players at PVI has been amazing, because he's part of my family. Like, he's part of who we are, and we're excited to. Ray was part of that championship team back in 2002. So he hangs that over every single one of these guys' heads. Hey, it's your turn now. So we always really look to the past for those guys to put pressure on the younger guys to say, hey, you're next. It's your responsibility. It's you have to be accountable for what we built. There's a lot of pride in both programs, the Roosevelt kids and now the PVI guys, that have established a foundation of winning, and now looking at the younger guys going, hey, this is how we do it. This is what you got to believe in. And one of the most fun things to see as we've gone through this process is, and when Aaron's playing for me, he's like, hey, Aaron, do we want this kid to come to our school? And he's like, no, coach, that kid doesn't buy in. He's not going to buy in. Like, or, hey, coach, yeah, that Roach kid, absolutely, he's wired the right way. Not only is he talented, not only is he skilled, but he's wired the right way. We got to make sure we get him. And I think it just kind of builds on itself. And I think now guys like Trevor and Doug are those guys, reasons why some of the young kids want to come now to Paul VI. And then you also mentioned too about the long distance that Aaron took to get to school every day. And I felt it was my responsibility for all of our connections of players that are over in PG County, having been there for 14 years, having so many relationships with players and coaches that and families, that my responsibility is make sure it's worth it for him. So as he drives that distance, it's not have to be so much a sacrifice, it's a commitment, and that we are now responsible to make sure we help him achieve what his goals and dreams are. So it takes the right kind of kid to, no matter where you're living, to come to PVI because you're buying into something so much bigger than yourself. And that's why it's so much fun that I can look at it, someone like Aaron Thompson and root for him as he has success at the next level. Because as you mentioned, it's not just about the scholarship. It's about making sure they're prepared. So when he walks in, hardest transition there is in basketball is to be a point guard at the next level. We want Aaron Thompsons of the world, Jeremy Roach now, for example, be prepared when they get to college. They don't have to have so much a learning curve. It's going to be a learning curve, no question. It's going to be difficult. But are they battle tested? Are they tough enough? Are they mentally wired the right way so they can walk into a situation and apply all the toughness that they have in them, and have that confidence to say, I can make an impact early on in my career in college. And Aaron's a perfect example of it, pretty much starting from day one at Butler and making an impact on them and buying into their culture and helping continue to elevate their, the Butler way.
Well, it's really cool to hear about you putting that kind of trust and reliability on your players in terms of evaluating the next wave. You've talked so much about different talent, specifically at the guard position. Is there something that you feel like makes you exceptional at molding guards, at developing guards, something specific to that position?
We want them to be complete guards, right? So it's not just with the ball in your hands and you're going to be a wizard with it and you're going to make plays. We want you to be able to play with the ball in your hands, without the ball in your hands. We want you to play with other great players. And we play such a fast pace, both on the offensive side and the defensive side. We're constantly in attack mode. I want to simulate as much as I can the next level for them. And I know, as Aaron brought it up earlier, we can only do so much to make them prepared for the college level. They're going against 18 to 23-year-olds. But the faster we are now, the more demands that we make, I think is really important. So that speed of the game in which we play with, making quicker decisions, making the right decision, making the winning decision, and making the winning plays, and then also holding them accountable to make the right play and having the basketball maturity to do it. Even when Aaron was a freshman in high school, I didn't want to treat him like a freshman in high school. I wanted to treat him with the respect that he's a high-level basketball player. I will demand of him. But it wasn't like being hard on him. It was more of like, he wants that. He's a competitor. I'm a competitor. Let's compete together. And it was always this togetherness that I think we've always shared. And so with our players, it's getting them to that level. And so the best way to do it, really, not just through your coaching and your relationships that you build with the players, but also making sure that they play for each other. And that's one thing that I think all our guys do, is they play for each other. And when they hold each other accountable, as a coach, you can sit back and just kind of guide a little bit, and you don't have to be so demanding and over the top. And we don't have to do that with our kids, because they have the right perspective and the right kind of work ethic for it. Now, again, they're 14 to 18-year-olds, so you need to be there for them. You have to be hard on them sometimes, but that's our job. And that's what I think that makes us unique with how it is that we do things, is how much we give ownership to the players, that their success is theirs, and we are there to help them, but let them kind of run with it. And you see them blossom through that progression.
Yeah, and you talk about the competition and really the want-to that both of you and your players have to have. And I wanted to talk to you about kind of putting them onto that stage that you always talk about, going back to your Eleanor Roosevelt days. You'll play anywhere, anyone, anywhere, and just kind of that atmosphere. So I want to ask you about, obviously, a big game you had this past season. Played Sierra Canyon in the Hoop Hall Classic versus Bronny James, and there's obviously several high-profile people there. The King was there, and the gym was packed. What can you tell us about that atmosphere, and what is it like to you and your guys to really just win a game like that, wire to wire? I mean, I watched the whole thing on ESPNU.
Yeah, no. We've had a lot of big moments like this, right? And so the kids have been in these moments, and it's one of the things as a coach that I feel as if on our non-conference schedule, I'm going to give them the hardest schedule possible. Like iron sharpens iron, right? And this is why you come to PVI. You want to play the national schedule. We don't back down from anyone. When we do all these tournaments, and people try to manipulate who they're going to play, and I'm like, hey, give me the best. Let's go. Let's roll with it. That's why we've had opportunities to beat, over the years. We've beaten Mount Verde, we've beaten Oak Hill, we've beaten St. Anthony's, we've beaten Mater Dei. We've had these big moments. We beat IMG this past year. You mentioned Sierra Canyon. So that game was something that we've been in front of the national spotlight before. And the kids have had, and in fact, we just got back from Bass Pro, and we moved to Bass Pro, won our first 2 games, and then we lost to Oak Hill in a championship. So we had to have a travel day on Sunday, get there on Sunday afternoon, and then play on Monday, which is a tough trip.
Yeah,
we had been the first team ever to had won. We had been out at Bass Pro and made the travel, and we beat St. Anthony's on that Monday, but it was really tough, and we were the first school to ever accomplish that because it's definitely tough playing 4 games in 5 days. And so anyway, so when we went into the environment, I was worried about where our bodies were, where our mental was. It was going to be a tough game. Obviously, they're so and they're fast themselves and so talented. But as soon as we walked in the gym, and that place was packed, and LeBron walked in, then I knew we were okay, because our kids were so excited, and they were so, you could just see it in their energy level that they got a chance to play in front of LeBron. So that really helped us actually in a lot of ways. And then of course our guys had a lot of confidence, chip on their shoulder, right? All the talk was about Sierra Canyon, and people in basketball knew that we were talented and a great team. But it was really a lot of fun to see someone like Jeremy Roach be able to play on the national stage like that, remind everybody why he's one of the best point guards in the country, coming off the ACL injury from the previous year. So I wanted moments for him like that this year. I knew that Trevor and Doug were able to step up, and all our younger guys to have that. And so it was as exciting and electric an atmosphere. We didn't really realize until after the game how impactful it was on the national scene, because we got all the love from it. Because we just, we're acting like it was just another big game that we've had, that we've beaten a team that's ranked in the top 10. We've had that done a lot lately. And it really blew up. It was probably one of those significant games that we've ever had, maybe even just from the casual viewer standpoint, but also just the way we did it too, the way that the kids played and fought and competed through that game. It was really special because it was PVI basketball through and through.
Finally, Coach, before we delve deeper into Aaron's career, you talked about what he's meant to your program. What's it been like watching him progress at the next level?
Yeah, just really exciting to see. I DVR every game if I don't get a chance to watch it live, and I watch it all the way through. And I'll give him some, I'm still coaching him, right? But more even a support role, because he knows what he's doing. He's going to be, by the way, he's going to be a future. He's a coach in the future. So for every college coach that happens to watch this, know that Aaron Thompson will be a coach when his playing days are over. I hope it's a long time from now, but he's going to transition really seamlessly to do that. But no, there's so much joy that when you watch your former players, and it's specifically someone like Aaron, who embodies what I think basketball is all about: the competitiveness, the way he leads his team, the way he supports his teammates, the way he defends, the way he communicates with the coaching staff. He's a true floor general. He's a throwback, but he's modernized how it happens to be. And you watch him play, it's just the passion that he has and the competitiveness that he has. There's so much trust from his coaching staff for him to perform out there, and his teammates. You can see the respect. But Aaron in our game has so much respect for just how he conducts himself. So I have a lot of pride watching the games. My wife was his advisor in school, so we watch it together, and it's kind of funny. Aaron, Mrs. Farello yells at the TV screen at you sometimes more than I do. So but it really is a lot of fun for us to watch and see the progression that he's had and the impact that he's had at Butler, and the way the Butler community has embraced him as well, for who we know who he is, and that's a lot of fun to see.
Well, we'll hear from Aaron on his Butler career right after this, as Then and Now continues. Welcome back to Then and Now, and we're pleased to be joined by Aaron Thompson, rising senior at Butler. And Aaron, what's it been like for you going through this pandemic? Obviously, your season's cut short a little bit, but just from there forward, navigating things. You're still on campus now. How's life? How are you keeping basketball a part of it?
Yeah, just trying to stay in shape, getting some cardio in, getting some strength workout in. I got a gym at my apartment building that I've been going to, and then I've been able to find gyms here and there with different trainers, just to be able to get some work in. Not too much, not overexert myself, but just trying to keep my cardio up and stay in shape.
So this is Then and Now. We're going to take it back a little bit with you here. And correct me if I'm wrong, I was doing a little bit of research before this, but I saw you were from Glendale, Maryland,
Yep.
but ended up at Paul VI in Fairfax, Virginia. I was just wondering about that whole process, since there's a lot of really good basketball schools maybe closer, you don't have that type of traffic every day. What was it about Paul VI and Coach Farello that really sold you on the program in Fairfax?
Yeah, no, I feel like so long ago.
Yeah.
Well, me and Coach, we had a relationship pretty much, I think, going into my 7th grade year of middle school. And we built a relationship from there. I was going to the games, always coming to the games up to Matha, or I'll go out there when they played the Matha with Stan Robinson and Pat Holloway, and then we're there. So I just kind of fell in love with the program. And it's kind of our relationship grew from there. And then my parents just trusted Coach, trusted me to take care of my business going out there and taking care of the travel and managing time and all that stuff. So it was a big adjustment for me traveling that far, especially on the metro every day. But that was a good decision for me.
Coach, what do you remember about the early days of that relationship and seeing him come to your games and wanting him to be a part of your program?
Yeah, so when we got a chance to meet Aaron when he was young, he was going into a 7th grade year, like you said. So we got a chance to know him for a couple of years. But when I first watched him, I said, we're not recruiting a point guard in the current class. We're waiting on this kid. And because of just his basketball IQ, just how it is that he conducted himself, he's just a winner. And so we saw that as an early age. It wasn't hard to see. But so we just, in the way our style of play, I thought it fit. So we decided to put that investment into him as far as giving him that opportunity to come in at a young age. And of course, it paid off. He helped us win a WCAC and state and an Alhambra championship his freshman year. And then, of course, became our leading, our all-time winningest player of all time in Paul VI. So it definitely worked out for us. I'm glad it worked out for him as well. And he's had so much success. But it was really special to see what kind of player he was and, what we believed in. He turned out to be.
Yeah, and a perfect transition there, because that's where I was going next with you, Aaron. The winningest player in a program like Paul VI. That's really amazing. What, when you look back, made you guys so successful over that run?
I would definitely say like the bond we had with each other. I feel like we all had a pretty good bond. No matter what was going on basketball-wise, I feel like off the court we all connected in a good way. And I thought that was key to our success, just because you have a better connection off the court. I feel like definitely benefits you on the court for sure.
Going into that recruiting process, as you moved through your years at Paul VI, and you had a bunch of different programs showing interest in you, what made Butler the right fit, and what role did Coach Farello play in your recruiting process?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys noticed, but I was actually committed to Pittsburgh at first. So me and Coach Stallings had a good relationship. And then I decommitted from Pittsburgh, and then it was a couple different schools that were looking at me, and kind of narrowed it down with Coach and my dad. We kind of just came to the decision that Butler was probably a good fit for me, basketball wise and off the court wise. So I think that Coach definitely had a big influence on the school that I picked, just because of the program that we were, and the culture that we had. I kind of wanted that going into college. So.
Coach, when you're in that process, obviously you've had a bunch of players come through and go on to the next level. You're familiar with recruiting and steering players in different directions. But how do you balance that and also wanting your guys to make the decision that's best for them?
Yeah, so that you just said it perfectly right there. It's the decision that's best for them. So as you give them advice, you have to be very making sure you're very strong with your message but you end up making your own decision. This is what you have to live with. And Aaron has some really interesting situations that it kind of came about in his recruitment, but he handled it. And I just want them to make informed decisions. So my job is to kind of give them as much information as possible, make sure they understand all the different pros and cons of every situation. There's a lot of different things that go into it, obviously, but it really comes down to personal connections and personal relationships. And as he just talked about his relationship with me going into Paul VI, we wanted that for him going into the next level. And only Aaron can speak to that, right? At the end of the day, he can listen to all the messages. I can listen to the different coaches and look at different systems and different rosters and say, hey, okay, this makes sense. Maybe this makes more sense. But at the end of the day, he has to make that final decision. And I thought he made a great decision. It's worked out perfect. And it all comes down to, if you really look at it, for his success that he's had, is the personal relationship he has with the head coach and the assistant coaches at Butler and the players around him. And that's what is really exciting to watch, his growth and maturity through the whole process.
Yeah, clearly did make the right choice. You started nearly every game of your career at Butler since arriving your freshman season, one of the best programs in the country and the Big East. How were you able to make such an immediate impact on the NCAA level so early, and what at Paul VI really prepared you for that?
I think a couple of things. I think one of them was the confidence, just coming in knowing that knowing I was battle tested coming in freshman year of high school. I kind of came into the same situation. Like it wasn't guaranteed that I would play. They had guys like Kevin Dorsey, had 11 D1 players on the team, so just kind of having to work for what you got. And I think that I took that mentality into college. I think it paid off for me. I think the work just showed when I got there. So I think that's one of the biggest things. The confidence coming from my work. So.
Was there a moment early in your career with Butler where you made a play or something? There was just this moment where you said, I've made it. Like, this is a validation that I can play at this level and belong here.
I would probably say it was the first couple games. I got a couple of good baskets and a couple good assists, and I was defending pretty well. And it kind of started to feel like I was kind of getting it. And then you get into like Big East play, you start playing high major teams. It's kind of like, oh, it's a little bit different speed because it's the grind like every single night. And it's something that you really aren't prepared. High school and AAU can prepare you for a little bit, but it's something that you really can't be prepared for until you get there.
And speaking of those assists and your passing ability, you come into next season with 386 career assists. That's 7th all time on the Butler list. I mean, you have over 400 assists at Paul VI as well during your high school career. How early did that part of your game develop, the passing, the vision? And have you given really any thought to how far you could climb on that list next season?
Yeah, I haven't given it a lot of thought, but I know my coaches, he's brought it up to me. I see it some places that I could be all-time leading assists. I mean, trying to think about it just because, it's one of those things, if you think about it, and it probably won't happen. So I just focus on playing. I'm just trying to do my job and get wins. So, but no, I definitely think that's always been a part of my game just because my dad's been my coach. So he's always had a high basketball IQ and taught me a lot of stuff. So I think just being able to see plays ahead of when they happen, that definitely helps. My dad being a coach also helps as well.
Another part of your game that really stands out is on the defensive side. You've gotten a lot of recognition there. How much pride do you take in your defense, and what do you feel like it is that you do that might set you apart from other players on that end of the floor?
Yeah, I just think just my focus on it. I think when you focus on something and you want to get better at it, I think it definitely helps your progress towards getting better at it. So I think that being instilled in me, young, playing with Takeover, and my dad being a defensive-minded coach, I think all that stuff played a part in me becoming a defender and the player I am now. So yeah, definitely just locking in on it and then just learning tendencies and watching film. I've learned that through the years. Watching film is big for me. It's helped me eliminate a lot of fouls, still silly fouls that I used to get. So just small stuff like that. I just got to keep working at.
So I'm sure you've heard this news, and Coach, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are moving from Fairfax to Chantilly next season, right? The school. So, Aaron, what would you say is your favorite memory from that old gym in Fairfax from your Paul VI days?
Oh man, it's a lot.
A lot of winning, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of winning. I don't know. I'll probably say, Coach, you got some good games.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm trying to think of because you have obviously
My
a lot of.
favorite memory in the pack. I wasn't playing, but I saw Patrick Holloway beat DeMatha at the buzzer. That I wasn't playing, but that's definitely my favorite memory at the pack for sure.
Yeah. You had a couple of victories against DeMatha and Gonzaga that were sold out crowds, and then of course O'Connell's a big rivalry, and so that place is packed. When Aaron was there, he'd have over 600 of his schoolmates there cheering him on. So I think those memories have got to be pretty good for you as well.
Well, and Aaron, you brought up Big East play, and you take a great atmosphere like you had in high school, and you ratchet it up a notch. Obviously, where you guys play at home is a great venue, and there's all these great basketball rivalries in your conference. What's it like, just the atmosphere, the energy, especially in conference play?
It's unmatched. I feel like the Big East has great fans. I feel like it's a basketball conference, so everybody comes out for the basketball games. It's never really a game that you come in as like an empty gym. There's always a big crowd. So I think as a team and as a player, I think I feed off of that. It's something that I enjoy. It's something that you dream of growing up, just playing in front of those big crowds. So it's just you embrace it and you have fun with it. So I think that's how you just get through it and not really worry about it. Just embrace it and have fun.
Okay, so what can we expect to see out of you, Butler, next season, going into your senior year? Something you're working on maybe in the offseason, or something for our fans who are watching this, maybe look out for next year as we're watching you and the Bulldogs?
Yeah, just to come back and just be a gritty team like we were this past year, and just keep the Butler way going and the tradition that we've had of being a hard-nosed team that won't stop playing. So just another one of those Butler teams that you can expect big things from. So yeah.
Well, Aaron, we look forward to watching you next season. Appreciate the time. Aaron Thompson and Glenn Farello from Paul VI joining us on this week's episode of Then and Now. We'll wrap up the show right after this. Our thanks again to Coach Farello and Aaron Thompson for joining us on this week's edition of Then and Now.
You can catch Coach Farello on the sidelines at Paul VI next winter and Aaron Thompson at Butler University.
And you can catch us online at DMVSTREAM.COM and on social media at DMVSTREAM. Thanks for watching and tune in to our next edition of Then and Now.